my whole life I've been living for myself, my whole life. So for me to sit here and be like, poof, I've decided to live for Christ, like, yeah, that's a lie. Okay, I'm running a little bit late. So today we're trying a new church. I was not feeling it last week at all on all fronts. And so I was like, okay, great, let's try to change it up. I want to be one, I guess, educated, like tell me something I don't know, bring a new fresh perspective to me, which shouldn't be hard because as we know, I'm so new to this, but I also want to be, I guess, sort of seen. I want to understand that the pastor can disseminate information in a relatable way that actually makes sense and actually uplifts people. I wasn't really getting that at the last church, but I think it was the perfect church for my like very first times going. Being the sort of new kid on the block, I feel like I stand out. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm going alone, and everyone at the church expects someone of my age to be married with kids. And so when I walk in, this sort of like, you know, Arrested Development 30-something-year-old, they're like, okay, who's this B? They may not say it, but they're thinking it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, they're all sinners. They know it. They've all admitted they're sinners. There's no way they're not judging. Okay, don't tell me you're just these perfect saints. I know you're not. That's why you're there. Just like me. I finished Exodus in the Bible. Exodus is the story of Moses parting the sea, and it's called Exodus because he's exiting his people from Egypt. So they're in slavery, and he's pulling them all out. Before they get to future Israel, you know, they got to get there. So they're walking through the desert. I don't really know what the geography is there. Well, it's the Middle East. So they're walking through some hot weather, I can tell you that. So it takes them some time, and at some point, Moses goes up to Mount Sinai, climbs Mount Sinai, and essentially getting all of the instructions from God. So he's getting all of the commandments and, you know, how his people should live and what the rules of the game are. You know, he goes up there, and while he's up there, the rest of the people at the base of the mountain, they end up like essentially having an orgy and like becoming great sinners. Moses, and he's like absolutely furious, and he like comes back down. He says like, okay, those of you that are going to follow me and follow God, like stick with me, but the rest of you folks that are having a nice orgy and wanting to worship other gods and all this stuff, you know, you kind of made your bed, time to lay in it. And he orders the true followers to kill everyone. So unless I got that wrong, I was like, this is some fucked up shit. But hey, hopefully this church, if I'm into it, has the separate groups. Remember I was mentioning to you, like they all encourage you to join a group. Maybe they'll have a group for, you know, a lost soul like me. And that would be really great, because if I'm gonna have to go out there and make my own group, like, buddy, that was my Canadian hillbilly kicking in. Buddy, you're gonna, I honestly think I might get the most subscribers to my group just because it would certainly be entertaining. Is it gonna be factual and in line with their doctrine? To be determined. You know, we can't really guarantee that on week 4 that it's gonna be totally accurate, but it at least will be entertaining. How are we on time? Oh, almost gonna be late. Not quite. That's good. I don't want to loiter. I don't want to loiter. I almost want to sneak in the back. You know what I mean? Like, have it already started. Let me just sneak. Guys, I really hope the singing is fun and they got good songs. Oh, yes. Thank you, angels. This gentleman just pulled out so that I can pull right on in. Gotta love that. At least we're, you know, the median age doesn't look to be about 82, so I feel like that's a start. Oh gosh, you guys, there's so many people outside the church. There's like a whole welcome committee. I can't. Okay, so just went. It was definitely super young. The pastor was very interesting. I thought it was funny because he randomly was like, oh, I came up with this funny example today as he was talking through the New Testament, John verse something, I don't know. And he was like, yeah, I liken it to, and I'm paraphrasing here, you know, the shock value of when someone says like, you're ugly, but thank God for the beauty industry. And so I was like, weird. Feel like maybe he's saying that for me. Right before communion, he was like, yeah, I'm here if you wanted to come talk to me, or, you know, if you want to do prayer. And so I went up quickly just to introduce myself and be like, funny, I work in the corporate beauty world. And so your little, like, you know, stroke of insight, like, really resonated and was really funny. And he was like, oh, cool. But I have to say, both him and the other pastor at the other church, The other pastor, a little less so, but they both did it. It's like the second I introduce myself and the second I'm like, hey, I'm new and, I just want to say good job and it was really helpful, blah, 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 whatever I'm saying, I'm being very complimentary. Their immediate words out of their mouth is, oh, I need to introduce you to my wife. Oh, I wish my wife was here so you can talk. They immediately bring up the wife. It's off-putting that the first thing you say to me is, oh, my wife needs to talk to you. And so I don't know if that's like a patriarchal thing, if it's sort of just the custom that only the women talk to the women and the men talk to the men. Like, I don't know what it is, but there's something odd that I'm now 2 for 2 talking to a pastor and the first words out of their mouth or the second words is, you need to talk to my wife. I wish my wife was here. I just want to clarify to anybody, me coming up to you and being kind and talking to you and being complimentary about the service, I'm not hitting on you. So sorry for everyone who's sitting here being like, duh, they know that, it's just part of the culture. I'm new, so I feel like I need to say that because I've only ever met that in my normal life when a guy thinks that I'm hitting on him. I'm not, I'm just asking. So that leads me to believe, is there some patriarchal thing? If you go to church regularly and you know anything about this, please let me know in the comments below what all of that is about. Or maybe I'm just overthinking it. That's also possible. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you quickly before we start driving is they have this Christmas child box. It's like a little shoebox style that they put together. And I thought it was so cute. So basically I will go fill this up with a bunch of toys and then they will send it overseas. And I was like, so that they can have a wonderful Christmas. And I was like, that is fantastic. This is like why I'm going to church. It's stuff like this where it's like, they make it so easy for you to give back a little bit and just care about anybody else other than yourself, which is, a hard one for me, gotta say. So let's drive. Okay, so let's talk about the sermon. The overarching theme of what he was talking about, and again, I'm still trying to disseminate this and really integrate it. He was saying there could be so many people that are attending church and kind of getting lost in religion that actually aren't true believers. Said another way, there's plenty of you sitting in here today who are kind of hiding yourself in the church, meaning you attend church, you say that you follow Christ, you say you're a believer, yet you're not actually walking the walk. And when it comes to talking the talk, it's all kind of posturing bullshit. And again, these are my words, definitely not his. But I was like, hey, I can understand that. I definitely am somebody who is just learning to walk the walk. No part of me is oh, I'm a true believer, as we know. But how refreshing for someone to say, hey, there's so many of you in this church and also just in life in general who are hiding behind the sort of illusion of religion. You're kind of hiding behind this mask of righteousness. It kind of veers on me earlier saying, just because you go to church doesn't mean you're some perfect person. So many church folk can have an air of superiority, can have an air of I'm better than you, I know more than you, poor you, your soul isn't saved, you're condemned to hell. There's this sort of I want to almost say they kind of sit on their throne a little bit of a hierarchy. So I thought it was very interesting that he was kind of calling people out in a very loving way to say are you one of these people? Are you just sort of hiding behind religion? You're kind of sliding in and out, but you're not actually fully believing and living for Christ instead of living for yourself, which that really resonates for me. I mean, let's be honest here. My whole life I've been living for myself, my whole life. So for me to sit here and be poof, I've decided to live for Christ. Yeah, that's a lie. I'm working on it. It's going to be a work in progress here. And when they speak about living for Christ versus living for yourself, I am okay, this makes sense to me. That's where I'm at in sort of my journey is realizing, I'm not a God. I'm actually only made in God's image. And it's a very different road or path when you decide to live for Christ's will, if you will, instead of your own. Christ's will, if you will, try saying that 5 times fast. She sells seashells by the seashore. And again, I think maybe it's because I'm reading the Old Testament. When I go to church, I really need that balance of talking through the New Testament, which they did today, which is, all about Jesus. It's much more high vibe and positive and helps me really apply it to my life and how I can, start to self-reflect and really start to adopt Jesus into my life and my heart and my higher purpose, essentially. But yeah, the thing that's been like sort of tickling my brain in multiple interactions, not just with the pastors, is there a bit of a patriarchy in the church? I'm genuinely asking this, and I don't mean that like the whole Bible is written by men, for men, blah, 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 like duh. I'm talking about like in your church community, are women able to approach men and have discourse and dialogue, or is there always this sort of undertone of, oh, women need to talk to the wives stick together and the men stick together? I'm not actually saying that this is a bad thing. To me, it actually speaks a little bit more to conservative values in a way. I'm getting this sort of sense of like the men are the men and the women are the women, and they have sort of distinct roles, which again, from a conservative perspective, me likey. This whole like notion of girl boss literally makes me cringe. Like if anyone says that, oh my God, we have to talk about something. This will be late by the time you guys ever see this because I haven't posted an episode yet. I'm still learning to edit and it takes me a long time to get it together, and I'm trying to find the nomenclature and the branding and whatever. I think I'm just going to release it as looking terrible and we'll learn as we go, but that's not the point. Talking about girl boss. Taylor Swift just released her new album Friday. Today's Sunday. For those who don't know, I was a huge Taylor Swift fan, okay? I'm like, insert picture here of me dressing up like her at the Reputation Stadium tour in 2018, I think. I effing love that album. Reputation it's so good, okay? So for any of the Swifties out there, like, you know what I'm saying. I was hugely disappointed by her new album that she just released, which is whatever, Life of a Showgirl. I texted my besties about it immediately, and the only word that came to me was underwhelming. It was underwhelming. There's way too much hype. The fact that it was like she's partnering with Max Martin and Shellback, who were, pop hit masters. You go look at their resume, it's unbelievable. And they worked with her on Reputation, majority of Reputation. I had such high expectations. And when I heard it, I really loved her opening song, her first single, The Fate of Ophelia. So love that song. Every other song, I'm like, meh. It sounds like something that she made for TikTok, like AI, bullshit, generic pop. Back to Girl Boss. She says it in one of the songs, I think it's called Canceled. I think there's a line that says, "Did you girl boss too close to the sun?" I was like, girl. She's my age, by the way. I was like, girl. That is the cheesiest, most chuggy, corny shit I've ever heard you say. Like, what is happening? Girl boss is dead. That's kind of my whole point. Girl boss, like, I'm not, back to conservative values of the church, like, I'm not interested in being a girl boss at all. I'm actually not interested in like carrying the weight all the time. Like, I would like some help. I would like a man to take care of me. Ooh. And I'll take care of him in return, but like, I'm not interested in wearing the pants in every single fucking interaction of my life, in every single dynamic. It's not fun, it's not sexy, and I just find it completely draining. That was a really long tangent. All that to say, Taylor, I'm highly disappointed in you. The whole album is mediocre. Of course, mainstream will never ever tell you that because, well, her influence is too big. And if you know anything about mainstream media, it's all just for the highest dollar, the highest bidder. But I love The Fate of Ophelia. I absolutely love that song, not gonna lie. So thank God I got one new song from her, but from her other albums, there's often multiple songs where I'm like obsessed with them. They move me emotionally. I play them on repeat. I'm not getting that this time around. I'm just not getting that this time around. You know what I mean? Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to this one. If I don't see you again, I'm glad that I feel like this church is a little bit more aligned with who I am just in terms of vibes. The vibes were more in line with me. But yeah, the outstanding patriarchy question is a bit of a question mark for me. Again, I'm not judging it. I'm just trying to understand it. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.